All right, we are back on Morning Line. Thanks for joining us. Metro Councilman Bob Mendes is with us this morning. Appreciate you coming on to talk about what can be a pretty complex subject. We have several calls, but we have a little phone snafu at the moment. So if folks are on hold, we'll try to work that out. In the meantime, Rick may be able in the back there get your questions, and I'll pass it on to Bob as we go. But we know you're there. We're just trying to get it. We can't translate it right now onto the air, so we'll get to that point. All right, again, if you're just joining us, what we're talking about is an idea to move some money from MDHA to Metro schools. And how much money would it be, perhaps, if something like this passes? Well,
right now, the total amount of tax increment financing is about $23 million.
Okay,
and so that would mean about $9.5 million more for schools. And like we were talking about just a few weeks ago, doing a new transit-oriented development in Donaldson that talked about $30 million more of these loans, and so that would translate into about $12 million worth of money staying in the school system rather than going off to support developer loans.
Okay, so, and again,
so it adds up.
Okay, and as you just heard him, the last line, if you were joining again, is we're talking about developer loans. This is the stuff that many of you talk about, giving incentives, tax increment financing and all of that, and maybe taking some of it, as you say. You're not taking it all away, and we all both agree, I think, that you need to attract business and development sometimes, even though you could argue that Nashville's already bursting at the seams to some degree.
Well, it's definitely different than it was a generation ago. You know, when the Gulch first started being redeveloped, you can make the argument that the first 2, 3, 4, 5 properties needed a little kick to get the development going but now to do a tax increment loan for a developer in the Gulch, I think would be, you know, that's crazy.
Yeah, and one of our callers, Joe, who's a regular, and he just told us, his question is basically, he feels as though we're selling out to some degree at this point for the very reason you just said, especially when we're seeing stories right now that you have Metro Fire and the PD maybe not having the money, and they're working overtime because they don't have the staff. And now, is it fair to make the connection between that type of funding and education maybe and what's happening with this tax increment financing?
Listen, in order for Metro to get into the budget crunch it's in, it's taken a series of ingredients and doing a series of things wrong. Continuing to pump money onto development, pouring gasoline onto the City Fire, that's one of the ingredients. Okay. And so doing this wouldn't fix anything, but we should look at the ingredients. I mean, we don't have the same needs about development as we did 25 years ago, and it's appropriate for us to look at whether we really need to set aside all the new property tax revenue on properties for a development loan, or whether we can split it and use some of it to incentivize the development if we think it's a good idea, but keep some in the school system.
Okay, and I don't want to get too far astray, but another caller is bringing this up, and I think it's probably separate from the tax increment financing and that kind of monies, but Metro Council did just approve plans for a new soccer stadium. Yeah. And the whole issue there, and there's a lot of issues around it, we don't have to delve too far into that, but I know you voted for it, along with many other members of the council. But some people are saying, yeah, with what you just described, look, nothing against soccer, but I think a lot of folks out there are saying, gosh, you know, we just built the new Sound Stadium. We've got, you know, we're probably going to have to build something for the Titans down the road. And now we're adding a whole new one over there. And what are your thoughts along those lines? Having voted for it, do you think that it's going to bring enough to the table to make it worthwhile?
I hope so. I mean, this is, I was literally undecided till an hour before the vote.
Is that right? How did you vote on the 2 prior votes? Was it?
I voted no over the last several committee meetings, and when we voted last November for the conditional approval of the bonds, literally out of 15 changes we made to the bill in the council, I think 13 of them came from me, adding conditions and restrictions, where the bill says that the team will pay every dollar over $225 million, and there's no way for Metro to have liability. That was a change I made sure to get inserted. The requirements about affordable housing, really truly groundbreaking affordable housing, and making sure that there's a living wage instead of minimum wage wage. $15.50 will be the minimum
for the jobs that'll bring
for the jobs in the stadium.
No, that's all good stuff. Yeah,
and that's all. That was the trade-off. I was opposed from the very beginning to the hiding the ball of the value of the land. The last minute news in the last week about the value of the land being $20 million instead of $11 million was a result of a bill I introduced and get passed to get a real appraisal with the real value. None of us are opposed to soccer, but if we're going to do a deal, we should know the true cost of it.
Absolutely.
And my push to get a true value for the land is similar to the push to get better information out of MDHA now. I think we get fed hocus pocus numbers that make it look like everything's awesome, and people are smart. Voters are smart. If you tell them the true numbers, they can make a true decision about whether to invest it in or not.
Yeah, I mean, that's why people are wary sometimes, because that's what happens. Then they go along with it. And then the chickens come home to roost after you're already into the project and you can't turn around.
Well, I mean, for me, I happen to practice business litigation. I've hired commercial appraisals as expert witnesses before, and from the very beginning when we got the $10 million appraisal, it was, with all due respect to people involved, BS.
Yeah, it sounded too low.
It was not right, and I expected the number to be about twice that, which is where it turned out. And when you think back, if that's the way appraisals have been getting done for a generation on development deals, no wonder people don't trust anything.
Yeah, and the changes I think that you made, that I guess ultimately, is that what it was that convinced you in the final hours to go ahead and vote for it, and in that your mind, in the long term, this is going to be a real value for the city?
I think it's a fair value for the city.
Fair value, okay.
I think stadium deals are not that great. This is by far the best stadium deal this city's ever done. It still fits in the category of stadium deal, which is expensive.
I know.
But it is clearly the runaway best stadium deal Nashville's ever done.
Will the flea market still be out there?
The flea market will be out there. Our assurance is written into the ground lease, and the key team leadership and ownership, the top dogs have told me to my face that they're going to honor the flea market scheduling.
Okay, that's good, because I go out there, every month, and I buy baklava, and it's really good.
It's good stuff.
The woman there that makes great baklava. I love the flea market. Listen, we'll take a break on that note. When we come back, we can hopefully work out the phone snafu, or I'll pass the calls on. Talk a little bit more about MDHA, and as you said, in terms of the question, why maybe this is so confusing to some folks is the transparency, and why it is that way and set up. It's not like us being able to just come in necessarily and sit in a council meeting, or how that goes. We'll take a break. Be back with more right after this with Councilman Bob Mendes. Appreciate you coming on today.
This Storm 5 weather update is sponsored by Ascend Federal Credit Union.
Hi everyone, I'm News Channel 5 meteorologist Leland Statham. Gordon is to the south of us, down south of Memphis, drifting into Arkansas for today, but still giving us a lot of cloud cover, scattered showers, and a thunderstorm here or there. Check out the temperatures right now. We're going to warm back into the 80s this afternoon. Yesterday was the first time in about 12 days that we did not break the 90-degree mark. Here is a look at what's happening for you right now with temperatures out at Nashville International. Overall today, mainly cloudy with scattered showers and a thunderstorm here or there. Wind east at about 5 to 10. 7-day forecast now showing a high of around 90 tomorrow. Rain chances go back up this weekend, especially as we head into Sunday, Sunday night, and Monday. Highs around 80 from Monday and Tuesday. Have a great day.
Everything was great, going real well, and I thought that I was gonna die soon.
The day he was arrested and put into jail, that was the worst day of my life. I believe that was his turning point.
Don't wait to reach out and get help.
Dreaming of a gorgeous new kitchen or bathroom? Granite Transformations can make your dreams a reality. We'll install high-quality quartz, glass, and stone countertops, tub and shower surrounds, mosaic tile backsplashes, and cabinets. With our revolutionary resurfacing process, we can complete your transformation in as little as 1 day. So act now and go from this to this. Call the number on your screen and get $1,000 off your kitchen or bath remodel. Granite Transformations. Done in a day. Beautiful for life.
We are